This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is a show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. Today, we're going to talk about a subject I haven't addressed on this show to date, but one that's vital to master if you are going to live your dream life, and that's loneliness. It's a tough subject for me because I spent many years feeling alone. As a child, I was home alone a lot. My sisters were a lot older than me, and they had their own lives to live. And my parents came from an age when they didn't feel that they had the need to entertain me. I liked to read, and so they had no problem leaving me in my room for hours with my books. And I think that's why it took me a long time to develop friendships. And now I want to bring on a guest to speak out the ways we can develop meaningful relationships so we don't go through life feeling lonely. Lee Hopkins also grew up feeling lonely, though his reason was different from mine. Lee is transgender and felt alone even among his friends because he didn't feel that they knew the real him. He now dedicates his life to helping others overcome the loneliness that comes from not making close friends. And his wisdom is true for everyone from all walks of life. Welcome to Dream Power Radio, Lee.
Hey, Debbie, thank you so much for having me. I'm super glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. And I do want to talk about this subject. But first, before we do, Lee, tell me about your story. How were you able to conquer loneliness and develop friendships?
Yes, well, I am really thrilled to be here and to share my story. And I really just first want to say that I thought it was really great for you to open up and share your story. And I felt very connected to it. And that is pretty much my story. I feel like it is pretty much something like yours where we get to know and get to understand each other. And so I grew up in a small town in Ohio. And there I was presenting as female. So I was born as female. I grew up there and I just felt disconnected. I feel like I didn't understand anyone. I couldn't connect with anyone. And then after I went to college, I had the same kind of experiences where I just wasn't able to be myself with anyone. And so I decided the entire state of Ohio was bad. It was wrong. It was not for me. I had to leave. So I packed my bags. I fortunately had an opportunity that landed me in California. And I thought, wow, California is going to be amazing because it's such a different place than Ohio. That's what I thought. Never been outside of Ohio before then. I moved to California and there I go with lots of different cultures and people. And I had an opportunity to reinvent myself and still presenting as a female here at this time. I have not transitioned and I'm meeting people and I'm feeling like I can fix this void of loneliness. And I just find the right tribe. And you know what? I started my own karaoke kind of club group and I met a lot of people, I was kind of like a little celebrity on the scene. People knew my name. They'd have my drinks ready for me in the bar. But I was still so lonely. I was so lonely. And I thought that if I just go to a new place and I reinvent myself, that would be it. California, I thought it was it. It turned out it wasn't. So I had one more opportunity to move. I moved from California to Chicago. And here I thought, this is where I'm really going to be my authentic self. That's what I thought. I've heard so many times that you need to be your authentic self. You need to love yourself. And I thought I was doing those things from Ohio to California, now in Chicago, where I thought, well, this is it. There's one thing that I'm hiding. It's my transition. It's my gender. I'm hiding it. And now I'm in Chicago. I can make that transition and I can become my authentic self. And then, and only then, I will find the friends and connection that I want. And Debbie, can you guess what happened?
Why don't you tell me what happened? Tell me what happened.
Well, I was still lonely. I was absolutely lonely still. I stepped into the transgender community and there were so many things that we were not aligned and connected on. And I thought, well, aha, there's something else. I have to do something else. Obviously, it's not the place, something that I'm doing. And so understanding what that was, I went through therapy. So I didn't have the aha moment and the clarity, and I just knew exactly what to do. It took some self-discovery. And that was the piece that was missing. I didn't know that I even needed to do self-discovery in order to fill this void of loneliness. And I didn't know how to do it. And so when people say, love yourself, love yourself. Well, I had no idea who I was. So I had to find that person and then learn how to love them. So that's what I help people do. And that's how I believe we cure the loneliness.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just ask you this. Let's say you knew that before you went through your transition. Do you think you would have had meaningful friendships even before you made the transition?
Oh, yes, I definitely think so. Like if I had a more of an appreciation or an awareness of who I was at that time, I could share the things that were deep and important to me. Like I couldn't tell anybody in Ohio that I wanted to transition. No. And in California, I felt like they knew that they're going to hate me. And I can't stand that. Everybody's like chanting my name and they're giving me high fives and they're buying me drinks. I don't want them to hate me. I want to keep this going. This is what friendship is supposed to be. So that's what I thought anyway. But if I had the awareness to be like, yeah, I'm trans, I would see people move away and I could just imagine that. And that was terrifying.
Yeah. Do you think that the reason that people don't really have authentic friendships is that they're afraid that if they reveal too much of themselves, people won't like them?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, it's hard to find that too. I have these 3 social myths, and I believe that this is one of them where rejection is a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's hurtful. It's painful, but it is a part of life. And it's really helpful if you can frame your mind around the fact that you don't have to place your energy into chasing a person who doesn't want to be with you. They're making that very clear for you so that you can get what you really want. You have that opportunity. So they're kind of giving you I heard someone say before, reflection rejection is a redirection, something along those lines. Like you can do something else. So quick story. When I moved to Chicago, I was having trouble connecting with people, and I wanted to change my mindset about how I was going to meet people. Because I've also heard this trope where you just go and you have a positive mindset and you smile and you can make friends. So I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. I do just that. I go to a comedy venue and I'm like, it's a small one. I have an opportunity to chat with a person. I start talking to them and I have a great chemistry. And I find that they've never met a trans person before. So I thought, this is a great opportunity for us to connect. I'm going to help you and solve this problem for you. And I'm going to reveal myself. So I did. And Debbie, their eyes just went bug-eyed. They bugged out. Their face was stone cold. Their jaw dropped. Mm-hmm. They put their beer down. They left the venue and I never saw them again. Now, that is rejection, right? It's painful.
I think it says more about them than you. I mean, they've got some
right
there.
Right. They've got some stuff that I don't even want to deal with. Thank you for dismissing yourself and heading off stage. It's not my issue to deal with that. I want to be accepted and be authentic. And if I had been in that at that time, I was in the mindset of, ouch, that really hurts. I probably never want to open up again. But I just hide again. I'm just going to hide again and I'm going to feel uncomfortable. I already know what it feels like to hide. This is a new experience to be rejected. Ouch, it hurts. But what if I try one more time and that person accepts me or that person's interested? What if I just keep doing things like that? Because I already know what it feels like not to have friends. That's one of the things that helped me get out of this mindset. Like rejection is a redirection. He had things going on and he never seen a trans person in his life. And he thinks he's talking to a normal, regular person, probably has no idea or inkling of what trans people are like. And here I am right in his face. It's scary for him. Probably scary, like you said. It says a lot about him.
It does. It does. You mentioned social myths, and I was going to get into this with you a little bit later, but since you mentioned it, so that's the first social myth. So what is the next one?
It's along the lines of people pleasing. So rejection is redirection. The myth is that rejection is hurtful, it's painful, and it serves no purpose but to hurt you. That's not true. It serves other purposes. The second one is about people pleasing. Essentially, you are more than what you can do for other people. People want to. I had this belief. The reason why I started the karaoke event in the first place is because I figured if I could serve a community or I could serve a person or I could help them in some way, then they would like me. They would just have to. They would just have to appreciate and accept me. And that didn't work out. That wasn't true either, because I had this community and I was of service to people in the way it was for this community, but I still couldn't tell them who I was and what I really wanted and deeply desired. I still couldn't. So your friendships and the loneliness doesn't end when it comes down to you doing something for someone, because you are helping them. That is a reflection of what you want and your joy. It's not for them to pay you back. It's not for them to owe you, because friendships and loneliness don't work that way.
Mm-hmm. And what would be the third myth that you want to address?
The third myth is being your authentic self. So they're all definitely tied together. So hiding yourself is the way to make friends. Essentially, that's the third myth. Hiding who you are and trying to be what you think other people want you to be is a myth. It doesn't serve you, because you still feel that intense loneliness because no one really knows who you are and what you want and your desires.
Okay, that certainly makes sense. One of the things that I want to talk to you about, though, is something that you did mention a little bit earlier, too, which is the idea of loving yourself. That in order to really become a good friend to somebody else, you really need to make friends with yourself. So how do you do that?
Right? You don't know what you don't know. And so what I say to people, my clients, is that they have to honor how they feel. It's really tuning in to themselves. That's why people are always spouting meditation and journaling, meditation and more journaling. They want you to know how you feel about things, how you feel about events in your life. Because if you don't know how you feel, if you don't understand your own emotions, what brings joy, what brings fear, what brings love, what brings anticipation in your life, you don't know how those look to another person. And in order to make a connection with another person, we have to be able to understand and demonstrate that we understand how they feel. This is an example. Let's say you're telling me about how terrible your day is, your boss is on your case, your coworkers are always talking about you, and you just had a terrible commute. And I'm here and I'm listening to you and I'm going, yep, yeah. And you're frustrated and you are trying to get me to understand how you feel. And I'm over here, yep. And I think that I'm being a good friend, but you don't know that I really understand how you feel because I'm not demonstrating it. I don't have the awareness to know what your anger, what your frustration, what all that stuff looks like, because I don't know what it looks like, period. I'm not in tune with myself. I'm not a friend to myself. So I don't know what those feelings look like myself. So in order to make a connection with you, I really need to demonstrate that. I may know what it feels like to have a bad day, but it's the demonstration that really makes us connected. So let's say, instead of just going, yep, terrible day. I'll say something like, man, I completely understand you had a terrible day. Reflect back what you said about the day, the data, the information. Your boss is a jerk, your coworkers are annoying, and you had a terrible commute. Yeah. And reflect back the feeling, man, that is frustrating. After all the hard work you've done, after all the time you spent it, after years you put into after all the years you put into the company, of course, the validation, here it comes. The validation is, of course, you would feel terrible. You feel frustrated about your day. This is just awful. That, an example, how we make this connection. So all that stuff doesn't happen until you know what it feels like yourself. When you feel like frustration, you feel anger, when you feel joy, and you can express that to another person, that's how you make the connection. So
Yeah,
it always starts with you.
Right. And you're saying that reflecting it back to the other person is making that person feel like she's being heard, which is really what she wants.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, well, on that note, we're going to take a short break. We are speaking about friendships with Lee Hopkins, and we'll be right back. If you're not pleased with the trajectory of your life, the time to begin your own personal transformation is now, and your dreams can help pave the way. How? By tapping into your unvoiced confidence. What is unvoiced confidence, you say? It's the acceptance of your abilities and qualities. It's a state of mind coming from liking and even loving yourself, and feeling free to say or do anything you want without concern for the judgment of others. You were born confident, but may have had it chipped away little by little by the negative self-beliefs you've picked up over the years. If you're looking for the heightened energy, clarity of thought, and the feeling of being more alive that comes from self-confidence, you can rediscover it by paying attention to your dreams. Need some help doing this? Go to my website, thedreamcoach.net, and sign up for my complimentary dream discovery session. I can help show you how your dreams can help you return to the confident person you were always meant to be. Again, go to thedreamcoach.net. thedreamcoach.net.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're talking about friendships and how not to be lonely with Lee Hopkins. Well, Lee, this is something that I actually, have struggled with throughout my life, and sometimes I still struggle with it, and that's going into a room, say like a party, where I may know the host, but I don't know a lot of the guests, and starting that conversation, meeting somebody, going up to somebody and starting a conversation with the hope that maybe we can find something in common and have a friendship. How do you do that? I'm a bit of an introvert, so it's a little effort for me to go up to somebody I don't know and say, hi there, my name is Debbie. So what are some tips for creating a memorable conversation?
Yeah. So being an introvert is one of those things that, wow, it really is kind of terrifying to come out and say hello. It takes a lot of energy to do that too. So I want to make sure it's impactful. Before you even open your mouth to say anything to anyone, just remember that everyone's on some degree is afraid of rejection. Everybody on some level. So you think that you might say something that is ridiculous and stupid, and it might get you banned for life and no one will ever want to see you again. You might think that, but I'm asking you to believe that everyone thinks that. It's not just you, and there's your commonality with them. And I want to ask you, before you say anything else, again, recognize that this is an opportunity to learn something and grow before you even talk to them. Put yourself into that mindset where you're curious. You already know people are afraid of rejection, and you're curious about what this experience is going to be. When you go start your conversation, talk about who you are, what you like, and how you're going to get those things, who you are, what you want, and how you're going to get those things. I think this is the hallmark of who we are and how much we can reveal to people, how much of our authentic selves we can reveal to people. So we can already do the small talk and start, yeah, this is my name and this is what I like and here's where I want to grow. Now talk about your future plans, your history, things that are important to you. And if you don't know what those things are important to you because you haven't done this self-love and self-growth, I recommend that you ask yourself, what are you most grateful for? Just do a journal entry about those things. What are you most grateful for? Talk about those things that are important to you, and then think about why they're so important to you. You have plenty of conversation to share. And it's not something that is just surface level, like what's on TV, what movies you like, but something else that's deeper to the core of your personality, to the core of your character. You want to share those things with them, but you don't want to be too deep and too vulnerable, just enough for them to know who you are, not just that you're someone they met at a party. But you'll come off as a confident person who's sure of themselves.
And then that kind of makes them want to get to know you better, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We love people who are confident and strong and they're solid in whomever they are. As long as they can show that they're confident and they're like a rock on solid ground, we like to connect to them because they feel safe, they feel predictable, and we humans, we love these patterns.
Well, how does this jive with being your authentic self? Because let's say maybe you're not feeling 100% confident. So
that's just wonderful. Then you're not feeling 100% confident. What I've done for a long time is point that out. It may seem awkward, but I would point that out to someone. I'm like, yeah, I'm a bit nervous. Ha ha ha. And I would explain why I'm nervous to them. And then that would probably be it. They would either comment on the nervousness, like, hey, don't be nervous and I'll be fine. But at least I said it. At least I worked it out of my being, and my body's showing all kinds of jitters and stuff. But now that I said it, I feel comfortable enough to actually continue on the conversation.
and it may even make them say, hey, I'm feeling a little nervous too.
Exactly. Because you're vulnerable first, then they might reveal a little bit of their vulnerability.
And feel safe to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is, a really critical point because, people like to put on that face, whatever it is.
Yes.
And, while we don't want to do it because we want to be authentic so that we can make meaningful friendships, but there are all those other people out there who are probably doing the same thing.
Yeah, and Debbie, it is authentic. Like the fact that you feel fear, the fact that you feel nervous is authentic. It is you. It's what's happening. And addressing that is no more authentic. It's the most authentic thing you can do.
Well, say you already have a friendship with somebody and you think it's going well, but something that can hamper that friendship is envy. And this shows up a lot. Let's say if you're looking at your friend's social media and you see that, oh, they're talking about something and they didn't tell you about it. And you feel maybe a little bit rejected or something. And then like, how come they're not telling me about it? And, gee, I'd like to know about this. I'd like to have this also. How do you not let these emotions get to you?
Wow. So deep breath, first of all, because I have been in that situation. I've been very envious, like especially Facebook and Instagram, they will make you feel like you don't have any friends. Like they're all doing all kinds of things without you. But what I'd recommend is to think about this idea that most people feel terrified of rejection, even if we're close friends. Now, I think that there's a reason they didn't say something to you, whatever it is. There's a reason they're hiding something. It's not about you. It's not about you. There's a reason why they didn't tell you about their ski trip in Aspen, because there's something going on where maybe they didn't want to show you they're super rich and you didn't know that or something along those lines. But what I'm trying to express is that their actions aren't always about you. And so believing that someone needs to do something for you or to talk to you or to tell you all the time, it's going to cause you a bit of pain. What I would ask myself is, if I could make space for them to be comfortable and safe with me. So I imagine that I saw my friend's picture on Facebook and they went somewhere, they did some event and they didn't even tell me about it, and I feel hurt about it. I'd have to take some time before I talk to them to think about what makes it so hurtful to me. And I have a technique where I would just express my feelings. I would express my feelings in a clean way about the event after I processed and understood what made me so frustrated or what made me so sad about the event. I thought we were friends or what. I would say, I saw your trip. I'm very sad, very short and concise. I'm very sad because I thought we were closer friends and I could have been invited, and just leave it. Give them the space to share their thoughts and their feelings, reflect their feelings and thoughts back to you or what happened, and be okay with what they say. If you create a space where you open up, you invite them to open up and they do, and you're like, rah, rah, you're a terrible friend. You should have invited me. I don't care. That's going to hurt your friendship. It takes a lot of self-reflection and journaling, meditation, just throwing those things out there because those are the generic things we do to get grounded in ourselves. But if I'm not okay with being rejected by my friend who I thought, whatever their experience was, whatever their reason was, it had nothing to do with me personally. They have their own thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm. And that is such an important point because, we always think it's human nature to take things personally.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually never personal. It's usually has nothing to do with us. So that is an important point. And to do it before you speak to the friend. So you're the emotions out of it when you actually speak. So you could just have a, say rational talk about it without getting all emotional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Lee, we're coming to the end, and I know that you have an event coming up. So you want to tell us about it?
Yes. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, it's all about boundaries. So it's called Stand Up for Yourself, Set Those Boundaries. It's all about setting boundaries. And what does that have to do with friendships and connection and loneliness? Well, the first thing that people think of is when they set boundaries is to keep things out, keep people away. But that's not really what it's for. Boundaries define you. It's who you are. You are everything. It's everything that you are. So getting in touch with yourself, learning who you are, what you will tolerate, what you will not tolerate. Those are all parts of you. Those are all how you connect with other people. Those are all how you make friendships. And so this boundaries is going to help you understand a lot about you and how you want to interact with other people.
And how can people find out how to get involved with this?
Yes, you can find me at Patterns of Possibility /More Possibility. I have my links to all my social media and events there. So just go to Patterns of Possibility /More Possibility, where I also have 10 tips for memorable conversations. And I also have a free course, Understanding Connections.
Wonderful. Lee, thank you so much for being on Dream Power Radio today.
Thank you for having me, Debbie. It was a dream.
Thank you. We've been speaking about how to make meaningful friendships with Lee Hopkins. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If you have, please hit that subscribe button so you don't have to miss any future episodes. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio.